The day HOA Karen called a county sheriff on me for illegal pool construction was the same day she learned I was a county sheriff, and that the land she tried to find me over wasn't just mine. It was mine in every legal record from here to Austin. You ever deal with someone so full of power and petty rules that they forget the law still applies to them, too? What would you do if the system trying to crush you didn't realize you were the system? I'm Wade Granger, 49, born and raised in Blanco County, Texas. Been sheriff here 17 years, and before that I was just a rancher like my daddy and granddaddy. I've got about 400 acres tucked along the Guadalupe River, the kind of land that don't come easy and sure don't come cheap. I got deeds older than half the county. I keep to myself, raise longhorns, and when I got time off, I build things. But this time, building a pool dug me straight into a fight I didn't start, but sure as hell finished. Out here in Blanco County, the sun hits hard and the dirt bites back. That's Texas. You don't ask it to treat you nice. You earn your place in it. That's how I was raised. After a 2-decade run as sheriff and a lifetime of ranching, I figured I'd finally treat myself. A modest lap pool behind the main house, fed by solar pumps and rain tanks, carved right into the limestone. Self-sufficient. No public hookup. No drama. I didn't need permission from anyone, especially not the HOA from that cookie-cutter subdivision that got dropped 5 years ago on the North Ridge, half a mile from my southern fence line. Sterling Hills Estates. Fancy name for postage stamp lawns and plastic fences. I never signed up for their HOA. Why would I? I didn't live in it. My land predates theirs by about 100 years. But HOA Karen, her real name Susan Holbrook, decided my pool was a visible violation of community uniformity and groundwater code. That's what the letter said. Slid right under my gate in a plastic sleeve like a damn eviction notice. I was sipping coffee on the porch when I found it. Construction cease and desist effective immediately. Failure to comply will result in legal action and municipal response. I laughed out loud. Full belly laugh. Thought it was a prank at first. But then I saw the signature. Susan Holbrook, President, Sterling Hills HOA. That wasn't just a letter. That was a warning shot. 3 days later, they came with reinforcements. I was down by the pool trench when I heard the gravel crunch. 2 Ford Explorers with HOA decals parked right by my fence. Out stepped Karen, hair sprayed stiff as rebar, clipboard in hand, flanked by a wannabe security guard in tactical pants and sunglasses too big for his face. She marched up to the gate like she owned the place. "Mr. Granger," she called out, already half lecturing, "you are in violation of Water Management Code 14.2 under Community Ordinance Guidelines, and we are here to issue a formal fine and stop work order." I didn't answer at first. I just kept my shovel moving. I'd hit solid limestone and was breaking it clean, inch by inch. "Mr. Granger, you are required to acknowledge this notice." I looked up slow, wiped sweat from my brow, and walked over. "Ma'am," I said, "this here's private property, not under any HOA jurisdiction. You're trespassing. Kindly step back before I call the sheriff." That's when she smirked. "I already did," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" She didn't realize the radio on my hip crackled to life just then. Dispatch, my own Deputy Clay, chiming in, "Sheriff, got a call about illegal pool construction. Sterling Hills HOA asking for enforcement response." I pressed the button. "Clay, I've got eyes on the situation. It's under control." "Copy that." Karen's smile faltered. You're the sheriff?" she said, voice tightened like a stretch wire. "Since '07, I said, "and this land you're standing on, it ain't yours to govern. Matter of fact, let me show you something." I walked to the barn, pulled out a thick binder older than most folks' careers. Land surveys, water rights, historical use exemptions. One of them signed by the State Water Board back in 1969, my granddad's name on it. This here's a riparian rights registration. This pool's fed by rain catchment and solar pump. No illegal tap, no municipal drain. And your subdivision? Y'all were built on annexed land that excluded this property from any residential authority. Karen blinked. She scanned the document like she was trying to read a foreign language. Her henchman looked uncomfortable, shifted on his feet, probably realized this wasn't going to be the easy power play they were promised. "I'll be filing this," she snapped, yanking her clipboard close. "You haven't heard the last of us." "Ma'am," I said, "you might want to read your own neighborhood bylaws before declaring war on someone who helped write the county zoning code." She left in a huff. Her guard didn't make eye contact. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. 3 days later, I came home from a livestock conference in San Marcos to find my back gate broken clean off its hinges, Orange County tape flapping in the wind, nailed to a post that wasn't mine. The trench I'd been digging, bulldozed flat. My pump, missing. A laminated sign stuck in the ground read, "Site closed pending investigation. Sterling Hills HOA. They'd trespassed. They'd vandalized. And they'd done it while I was out of town." I stood there, breathing through my nose, fists tight at my sides. My land, my tools, my rights, violated like they didn't mean a damn thing. They didn't just challenge me now. They declared war. And they were about to learn. You don't cross a man who owns a valley and the badge. They say fences make good neighbors. Apparently, Karen never got the memo. I woke up 2 days after the pool trench incident to find a metal fence post hammered right into the middle of my west pasture road, my only direct access to the upper ridge where my solar banks and livestock tanks sit. It was barbed, double-stranded, and stretched from a fresh concrete anchor point all the way to the hillside. On the other side, a laminated sign zip-tied to the wire. "Private HOA easement. Do not enter. Trespassers will be reported." It was early. Sun still yawning over the hills. My coffee went cold in my hand as I stood there staring at the stupidity. And that's saying something. I've seen grown men duct tape a mower blade to a backhoe. But this was premeditated. Because that dirt road, I've got it marked in every county survey since 1948. It's my right-of-way. Hell, it was part of the old cattle trail long, before Sterling Hills ever existed. And it runs straight through their newest undeveloped green belt, a fancy HOA term for land they haven't figured out how to monetize yet. Karen wasn't just being petty anymore. She was trying to trap me on my own land, and that was the last poke. I didn't go stomping up to her porch. I didn't tear the fence down, yet. No, I did what any seasoned sheriff would do. I built a case. First step, eyes in the sky. I pulled my DJI Mavic drone out of the barn and ran a few aerial surveys from sunrise till noon. I flew slow, smooth passes over the road, the ridge, and the entire fence stretch, snapping stills and video. Time-stamped, GPS-coded. You know, the kind of footage that makes HOA legal reps break out in a sweat. Next, I drove into town Blanco County Clerk's office. Small brick building, smells like old books and floor wax. Clerk on duty was Charlene, bless her heart, been running property records for 30 years. I slid the footage over to her with my parcel number. "Charlene, could you pull the boundary maps from 2006 to 2020 from my west pasture road?" She leaned over her monitor, squinted a bit. "Oh, Wade, I've seen that road on filing since forever. Looks like it's been registered in your family's name since the Carter administration." "Karen thinks otherwise," I said. Charlene snorted. "Karen from Sterling Hills? Lord help us all. She was in here last week asking how to redesignate unincorporated paths as HOA quiet zones. I told her she'd have to go through the county board, and she got real red in the face." I smiled. Mine printed me a certified pack of that easement chain, coming right up. By sunset, I had certified land records proving the road was mine, drone footage showing new fence installation, and concrete posts on that road. The old 2007 HOA boundary map, which clearly excluded my ridge. But I wasn't done. That night, I invited Deputy Clay out to the ranch. He showed up in uniform, sipping sweet tea on my porch while I laid out the whole mess. He wasn't surprised. Everyone knew Karen ran the HOA like a feudal duchess. "She's gone too far this time," he said. "You want to file a report?" "Not yet," I said. "I want you to watch." The next morning, I rolled up to Sterling Hills with Clay in the passenger seat, and Charlene riding in back, document binder in her lap. Karen was already outside, pruning a crepe myrtle like it owed her money. She saw my truck and crossed her arms. "Sheriff," she said, "you're not authorized to patrol within HOA grounds without prior board notice." I stepped out, adjusted my hat. "Ma'am, I'm here in official capacity to serve notice of unlawful encroachment and tamper with county-registered access routes." Clay stepped forward with his body cam on. Charlene followed, handing over the property packet. Karen's eyes darted like a possum caught in headlights. This has to be a mistake. That green belt is under community management. It's part of our Phase 3 expansion zone." I cut her off. "No, ma'am, it's my land. Or at least the road cutting through it is. And your fence," I turned and pointed with a slow, steady finger, "is sitting on top of my access route, which means you just violated Texas Easement Protection Statute 21.3. She blinked. Her lips twitched. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." I nodded slowly. "I do. I'm dealing with someone who thinks a subdivision charter outweighs state land code. You want to fight it in court? Be my guest. But you'll be paying my legal fees when you lose." Clay handed her a warning notice. Formal, time-stamped, filed through the sheriff's office. "You have 72 hours to remove that fence," he said. "After that, we seize it as obstruction." Karen didn't answer. She turned, marched back to her porch like the ground owed her an apology. Later that evening, I went back up the hill, flew the drone one more time, just to document the fence before they tore it down. And that's when I saw it. A second construction site, south corner of the Greenbelt. Looked small, maybe 40 feet by 30. But it wasn't on any of the approved zoning filings Charlene showed me earlier. Zoomed in, concrete foundation, trenches, pipes. I ran it against the county grid. That site, it wasn't HOA land. It was mine. Karen hadn't just blocked my road. She'd been quietly building something on my property, behind my back. Pushpin end of Chapter 2. I hovered the drone just a little longer, zooming in until the workers' faces came into focus. One of them glanced up at the word propellers and gave a lazy wave, like they thought I was filming for fun, like this was all just another day of business as usual. They had no idea they were trespassing on county-registered private land owned by the one man who could arrest them, sue them, and lock down every water line in and out of that hillside without lifting a finger. They weren't just on the wrong side of the fence. They were on my land. And now I had the footage. I packed up the drone, backed up the files 3 different ways. Thumb drive, cloud, hard drive, and poured myself a glass of rye. This wasn't going to be another back and forth with Karen. This wasn't HOA nonsense anymore. This was criminal. Next move? Law. Not badge. Law. I pulled the quiet title action paperwork from the safe in my study, a template I'd had ready for years. A legal nuke designed for exactly this sort of land ambiguity war. By midnight, I had every supporting document printed, notarized, and filed into a folder thicker than a summer phone book. And by 6:45 a.m., I had an emergency hearing scheduled at the Blanco County Courthouse. Karen didn't know it yet, but she was about to show up to a fight she wasn't even invited to. And the only thing louder than her HOA board silence was the sound of her project being shut down mid-pour. The hearing wasn't dramatic. No courtroom showdown. No screaming lawyers. Just a tired judge with reading glasses and a strong dislike for HOA drama. Charlene showed up with her master binder. Clay submitted his incident report. I played the drone video on a flash drive and let the footage speak for itself. Karen's workers trespassing, digging, pouring, planting illegal signage. The judge looked over the papers, tapped his gavel once, and said, "Quiet, title granted. Construction is to halt immediately." Ownership affirmed. Simple, legal, unstoppable. And that quiet title, it did more than just reclaim that hillside. It gave me full and public ownership rights to the only paved access road into the western slope of Sterling Hill's newest Phase 3 development. See, that gravel stretch Karen fenced across my pasture? It was the sole route their water trucks and delivery crews had been using to build her little oasis of HOA hell. And with my title now public, They needed my permission to cross it. I didn't gloat, didn't post about it, didn't brag. I just hired a contractor and a welding crew and installed a 10-foot wide, solar-powered iron cattle gate right across the entrance of the West Slope Access Road. A sign was welded onto the bars. Private ranch easement. Sheriff W. Granger, owner. Permission required for entry. And below that, a toll box. $75 per vehicle, exact cash or card. Receipts emailed upon request. The HOA called me before the gate even finished swinging shut. This is extortion, Karen snapped. You can't charge residents to drive on a public road. I laughed. It's not public, Karen. You made sure of that when you tried to claim it was yours. And the judge just confirmed. It's mine. You're blocking access to our development site. No, ma'am. I'm offering access for a fair price. The following week was like watching a barn fire in slow motion. Every contractor, plumber, electrician, and HOA rep trying to build in Phase 3 hit that gate and backed off. Some paid. Most didn't. The crews that did pay? I donated every dime to Blanco County Volunteer Fire. I figure if I was going to toll an illegal road, might as well make it worth something good. Karen sent one final notice. Remove the gate or face legal consequences. I sent her back a notarized copy of the quiet title ruling with a post-it note on it. Consequences reviewed. Approved. Moving forward. But I wasn't done. See, I discovered something else in those property records. A little clause in the original 2007 subdivision charter. One line, buried deep in legal jargon. Any subdivision infrastructure crossing private land requires express and renewed consent every 15 years. They never renewed. That meant her sewer line, the one crossing under the old cattle trail to the main treatment station, was out of compliance. Completely. So I filed a second motion with the county. I wasn't asking to block the line. I was asking for rent. And by rent, I meant $3,000 per month in usage fees, retroactive 8 months since construction began. Karen lost her mind. You're robbing us blind, she yelled during mediation. I just looked her dead in the eye and said, No, ma'am, I'm charging you what it costs to learn that land theft has a price tag. The board caved, paid the back rent, dropped the construction project. And Karen? She stepped down 3 days later citing medical stress. They dismantled the illegal site quietly. No announcement, just a line of pickup trucks and angry contractors pulling up concrete and hauling out PVC. The fence came down the next week. The trespass signs vanished. And my pool? Finished by local builders who brought me homemade brisket on their last day. You sure handled that classy, Sheriff, one of them said. Could have made it ugly. I nodded. I don't need ugly. I've got the law. A few weeks later, I walked that old road at sunrise. No gate, no HOA flyers, no Karen in sight. Just the sound of morning birds, my cattle lowing in the field, and the quiet rustle of wind over the grass. The valley felt like mine again, not just in title, in spirit. And when a new family moved into one of the Ridge homes, I stopped by to welcome them. Just so you know, I said, this land's our history. She'll take care of you if you treat her right. The husband nodded, shaking my hand. We heard what happened. HOA doesn't mess with you anymore, huh? I grinned. They don't mess with anybody anymore. The funny thing about land is, it remembers. You can pave it, fence it, rename it, stick laminated rules on every post, but deep down, it knows who respected it and who just want to control it. That little office Karen once ruled from, the HOA Compliance Center, with tinted windows, a flagpole out front, and a camera watching everyone who dared breathe out a step, had been sitting empty ever since she stepped down. At first, the HOA board claimed it was under review. Then the for lease sign went up. Nobody bit. Folks around here didn't want to rent a building soaked in years of fines, threats, and power-tripping HOA meetings. Even the local pest control guy said it gave him hives. But I had an idea. See, every kid within 10 miles had to bus into town just to get access to a decent library. Our schools were underfunded. Our branches were crumbling. And with the new families moving into the area, good families, not HOA tyrants. Something had to change. So I made a call to the Blanco County Library Board, asked if they'd be interested in a free building. They were skeptical until they heard where it was. Wait, the HOA office? The director laughed. You're joking. I don't joke about books, I said. 2 months later, the old compliance center was stripped down to studs. Out went the surveillance cameras and punishment plaques. In came shelves, bean bags, laptops, a mural of a bluebonnet filled with kids reading under the sun. We kept one thing from the old place, the front counter, not because we liked it, but because I had a plaque made and bolted right to front. Formerly, Sterling Hills Compliance Office. Now, the People's Library. A quiet place to learn, not to be silenced. The opening day was something else. Families from all over the county showed up. There was iced tea, a mariachi band, and homemade pies from 3 different churches. I gave a short speech, not long, just enough to say thank you. And just before I stepped down, I noticed a white SUV creeping past the curb. Tinted windows. Familiar bumper sticker. I support HOA integrity. Karen didn't get out. She didn't wave. She just sat there, watching as the community turned the place she once used to intimidate into something that would outlive her ego. Now, I'm not a petty man. I didn't make the library so Karen would suffer. I made it because the land deserved better. The people deserve better. But the truth is, watching her sit there, boxing by the community she tried to control, realizing her office had become a monument to freedom, yeah, that felt good. Weeks passed. The HOA stayed quiet. The new board was younger, more reasonable. They rolled back most of Karen's restrictions. Stopped the fine for wind chimes. Let people paint their shutters beige instead of regulation gray. You could feel the shift. Neighbors started hosting BBQs again. Kids played in front yards. Even the lawn patrol folks stopped writing passive-aggressive notes. One day I ran into Henry, the guy 2 doors down from Karen's old place. He was pushing a stroller with his new grandson. Wade, he said, tipping his cap, you ever think about running for county commissioner? I laughed. No, sir. I think I've done my damage already. But it stuck in my head. Because this whole mess, the fences, the lawsuits, the toll gate, it wasn't just about a pool. It was about control. About standing up to the kind of people who think a clipboard gives them power over your life. And if I could stop one Karen here, maybe I could keep 5 more from rising somewhere else. A month after the library opened, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name handwritten in blue ink. Inside was a note on crisp linen paper. You've humiliated me. You've turned everyone against me. Congratulations. You win. But one day, people come crawling back when they realize the mess you've made without order. S.H. I read it once, smiled, and tucked into the back of the land deed binder. Because history is written by the folks who show up, not the ones who hide behind tinted glass. Last weekend, I hosted the first ever Blanco Valley Community Barbecue and Book Fair. We had local authors, rodeo kids reading cowboy poetry, and a whole corner booth with free water rights education for new landowners. Kids from all backgrounds sat on hay bales flipping through old westerns and wildlife books. The line wrapped halfway down the dirt road. And Karen? She had to drive by it to get home. A new family lives 2 doors down from her now. They just installed a backyard chicken coop against the old HOA rules. The new board sent them a welcome basket instead of a fine. That's the kind of Texas I want to live in. When this all started, I just wanted a pool. Somewhere to cool off after a long day. Somewhere my nieces and nephews could splash around when they visited. I never imagined I'd end up dragging an HOA into court, putting up toll gates, or turn their own office into a beacon of free learning. But here's what I learned. If someone's trying to take your land, your voice, or your peace, don't scream. Don't panic. Don't play dirty. Just know your rights. Document everything and let the truth do the heavy lifting. And maybe, just maybe, if you build a pool deep enough, you'll drown the pettiness with it. Never mess with a landowner who knows how to build, how to read the law, and how to outlast your clipboard. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe, and remember, Some wars are fought with words. Others are won with concrete deeds and quiet strength.